Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're doing another fun episode of Indie Reads Aloud. I should have theme music. I should have theme music. I'll think about that. Samantha Bryant is here back with me again today. We are doing another fun episode together. I like you so much. I'm so glad we got to meet. Um,
Oh, thank you. I
it
I like you too.
well, thank you. It's just so much fun to talk to you. It's not work. It's really nice. Today you're going to be reading a menopausal superhero novella called Friend or Foe.
There she
And
is.
there she is in all her green glory. Now, the thing I love about this, we get to learn a little bit more about Patricia O'Neill, who is the Lizard Woman of Springfield.
Mhm.
And I just really love that you chose to take one of the most frustrating parts of menopause and turn it into what I think is got to be the most humorous superhero ever. And she's a lizard woman. Come on. I mean, how more out there can you get?
Well, I figure if I have to have the itchy skin and everything, it should result in something good, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, so I mentioned of Springfield. Which Springfield are we thinking about here? Because there's so many Springfields and they've been used
Actually, that's
so
why
many
I picked
places.
Springfield is because I don't remember the number now because I looked this up when I was starting the series, but it's something like 38 states have a Springfield.
Yeah,
So I was really trying to go for that could be anywhere kind of feel.
without
Although
actually calling it Anytown, USA.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But across the series it does become clear that it must be a southern city because I live in North Carolina and so when I'm inventing Springfield it pulls from several North Carolina cities.
Got it.
It's a little bit Charlotte, it's a little bit Winston-Salem, it's a little bit Raleigh, a little bit Durham.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's a state that
remember
doesn't actually exist.
I remember when The Simpsons first came out, the whole big thing was which Springfield are they talking about?
Yes.
Like, where do these crazy people actually live? Um,
Wherever the yellow people are, I guess. Yeah. I
and
haven't,
there has to be a nuclear plant nearby. So,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, put all
Yeah.
the puzzle pieces together. I don't have time for that. Seriously, don't have time. Um, so why does Patricia get a novella? What's so? I mean, aside from the fact that she's special, being a lizard woman,
Mhm.
why did you choose to give her a whole book? Because you didn't give everybody a whole book.
I didn't, no. Um, at the end of the first book, going through the change, it ends where like, they've gotten to the end of this big chase and our bad guy, you know, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say in a superhero story because it always happens. The bad guy gets away, right? And we
I think it's kind of a requirement, isn't it?
right, yeah.
Yeah,
And then the second book picks up, some months later.
right.
And I really felt like I wanted a good bridge story between the two. And Cindy Lou, who's my antagonist, she's the mad scientist who accidentally gave everybody superpowers. Um, Never had a point of view chapter in the first book.
Okay.
But she was saying, no, 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 I want to tell you. I listen, Samantha, I want to tell you my own story. And since Cindy Lou and Patricia are so entwined because they became friends when they were college students, well before any of these books happened, on page one of the first book, Going Through the Change, they've been friends for 40 years.
Right.
Right. So it felt right that those would be my two dueling point of views in this to go back and forth between Cindy and Patricia.
Makes perfect sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to listen to this. Every time you read, I'm so well entertained and it just makes me
Good.
so happy. And so what I've decided to do is when we get to meet in person, I'm gonna buy all of your books all at once so you can sign them all for me.
Well, I'm not going to turn that down. I'd get to sell a set of all of my books and I'd get to hang out with you. This sounds perfect.
I think it's a great idea. So there's incentive for you to come to South Carolina in October when I'm going to be there.
Okay. I'll keep that in
See?
mind.
Bribery works if you do it the right way.
It does. It does.
Alrighty. So, you're gonna read Friend or Foe, a menopausal superhero novella.
Mhm.
And when you are ready, please take the microphone and read aloud.
Right. So, as I mentioned, Friend or Foe kind of fits between the first and second novels. It's a bridge story between the two, telling you what happened. Um, it's divided into chapters, and I'm going to read you the first chapter, which is called Cindy Lou, Escape Artist, in our villain's point of view. The only thing that you maybe wouldn't know, that you maybe need to know to understand is that Cindy Lou has also been experimenting on herself. And so, although she is 67 years old, she currently looks about 13. That matters to the story. So, here we go. Cindy Lou, escape artist. You're going to have to sit down, miss. Cindy Lou whirled around, a retort ready to fly. Who was this man to tell her to sit down? And found the driver turned around in his seat and scowling at her. Thinking fast, she arranged her face into her best impression of a frightened young girl. It wouldn't do to get kicked off the bus before she'd made her escape. She thought she could still see Patricia on the sidewalk, despite the emergency vehicles crowding the street. There wasn't nearly enough distance between her and trouble yet. Sorry, sir, she said, pitching her voice high and flashing a nervous smile at the man. She plopped into the seat, imitating adolescent acquiescence, and primly folded her hands into her lap. The driver nodded and turned back around in his seat when the light turned green. The last beams of sunset still pierced the horizon as the bus took the ramp to the highway. Cindy was on her way. Not the most auspicious start she'd ever had, but she reclaimed the emeralds and escaped from Patricia O'Neill and friends. The authorities would have descended on the college campus by now, and if luck was on her side, they would spend hours or even days explaining themselves. After all, the truth was hardly credible. Women who could fly, wield fire, and transform themselves into giant bipedal lizards? A story like that would land them in the hospital talking to rubber walls. Cindy would be long gone by then, on her way to straightening out the mess her life had become. It had all gone wrong so fast, it didn't even seem possible. There would be time to worry about how it had gone wrong later, time to move forward and figure out where she could go from here. She didn't have much with her, just the clothes on her back and the meager contents of her wallet. Money would be her first priority. Maybe Helen could help. No, Helen hadn't made it out. She'd left Helen back there with them, imprisoned, or maybe even dead. Cindy was really on her own, all her best allies left behind. She'd think of something. If nothing else, she could always play the lost lonely waif role again. The grandmotherly African American woman in front of her turned around. Would you like some gum, sweetheart? She held out a pack of double mint, one shiny silver rectangle extended for her to grasp. Cindy had an impulse to tell the woman she couldn't take candy from strangers, but she didn't really want to do anything that helped people remember her. To escape, she needed to be invisible, so anyone who asked after her wouldn't be able to follow far. So she thanked the woman and popped the gum into her mouth, surprised by the rich, sweet flavor. Her stomach growled. The woman laughed. Goodness, did you miss your supper tonight? Trying for a non-threatening charm, Cindy smiled. She'd been good at that once, and could use it to what advantages she had again. I'm afraid so. It's been quite a day. I'd say your clothes are a mess, dear. Cindy looked down. Her baggy pants were grass-stained from her struggle on the lawn. Her shirt bloused around her skinny frame, but didn't hide its torn edges. One of her sneakers flapped, gap-mouthed, the sole disconnected from the rest of the shoe. She ran her hands over her head self-consciously and found her hair sticking up at odd angles. The woman must imagine her a runaway. Why else would a kid her apparent age be out alone? We had a field trip today, and I stayed at my friend's house by campus. My mom is going to be angry about these pants. The woman relaxed a little at the mention of Cindy's mother. And it wasn't a lie. Her mother would have been upset about the state of her clothes, if she were still alive to notice such things. Nothing a little spray and wash won't take out, I suppose. That bruise, though. The woman pointed at Cindy's cheek. Cindy touched the spot tenderly and found it swollen and sore. She'd almost forgotten Patricia had punched her. Now she'd have to convince the stranger she wasn't a victim of abuse. The last thing she needed would be to get off the bus and file child services waiting to take her into protective custody. She laughed again, trying to pitch the sound high and affect a carefree, shrugging attitude. I know. It's a beaut, isn't it? I took a spill off Patty's trampoline and caught the frame with my face on the way back down. I'm just glad I didn't knock out another tooth. Mom would really be pissed then. The woman looked at her sharply. Shit, maybe pissed isn't right. Do kids say pissed? Cindy held her gaze, remembering to blink steadily. Not blinking revealed a lie as easily as blinking too much. She had to strike the right balance. The woman knew the power of silence, though. It stretched long between them while her dark eyes locked on those bruises. Cindy's mind raced to add to her story, make the lady accept it and move on. Could she say something to make her think this was cultural? A Chinese thing? Probably not. She tried not to fidget or look askance. Luckily for her, a ping sounded, followed by a recorded voice announcing the stop for Morris Square. The lady gathered her belongings and pulled the cord to show she wanted off. Cindy sagged with relief. As she stood to leave, the woman handed her a candy bar and a business card. I hope everything really is all right, sweetheart, but if it isn't, you call me. We can help. Cindy didn't say anything as the woman walked away. She kept her eyes on the floor, automatically counting the tread lines and noticing the break in the pattern where a patch had been applied. Only after the bus started moving again did she read the purple and gold card. The woman was a social worker. That had been close. Sliding into the darker corner near the window, Cindy sprawled her gangly legs across the rest of the seat to discourage anyone who might try to sit near her. She wished she had some headphones or a phone to play with, something to send out the signal that she didn't want to interact with anyone. The gemstones in her pocket bit into her hip bones. She found it comforting, knowing they hadn't been lost. Her head fell against the seat, and Cindy closed her eyes. She didn't have to pretend to be tired. She wasn't used to this kind of running around. What she wouldn't give for a quiet day behind her microscope again, uncovering secrets instead of living them. The journey would be long, and she didn't even know yet where she'd go. And that's the first chapter.
Thank you. That's super fun. Um, and it was a very close call
Yes,
because I don't know that I would believe somebody if they told me that a trampoline had bit them.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something that was really interesting to play with in the whole book is Cindy trying to learn how to act like a kid. Because, like I said, she's in her later 60s
Right, which
because of her
means
experimenting on herself.
there's a whole cultural difference from when she was really a teenager and
Right,
versus teenagers now.
right.
So
And
having to figure
and
out
she's out of the
language and
habit of showing the right kind of deference to adults and that kind of stuff.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the whole language and syntax and when do you use the words like pissed and when do you use words like angry? I mean,
right.
it's like that's that's a tough thing to figure out if it's not the world you live in every day.
Right, and it's not like Cindy's been somebody's favorite auntie and is kept up with youth culture. No,
Right.
she's mostly been in a lab.
Right. She's a lab rat and somebody let her loose and now we're in trouble. um so why do you think it is that overwhelmingly the bad guys in superhero movies are scientists gone awry?
Um, honestly, I think it's a cultural shift. If you look back at like really old pulp stuff, the scientists are often the heroes, right? Who are going to
Right,
cure the thing or discover the thing. And
right.
now that's shifted. And I think it's our societal distrust that, there's been a whole disinformation campaigns
Sure.
and people don't really just automatically trust that just because you have a PhD means that you're not an idiot.
Right.
right? And in some ways that's probably good because there are some idiots with PhDs.
There are. I've
Yeah. Yeah.
had a couple. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Or they're idiots about certain things. Like,
Right.
they know a lot about what they know about and know nothing about other
Right.
things.
Right. There's a whole
Right.
disconnect to the rest of the universe.
Right. But yeah, I think we're seeing
So
society's distrust.
so do you think if it let's play what if for a minute. If you didn't have a scientist be your evil villain, who would have been up next? Who else do you think? What other profession do you think might make a great antagonist to a superhero?
So assuming that I was sticking with the same kind of antagonist where the antagonist is kind of responsible for the mutations in the first
Right?
place,
Right?
they'd maybe have to be an alien or maybe somebody who was supposed to deal with toxic things and didn't deal with them right. So therefore people got affected by them, like uh some I wanted to say like a not a garbage man. What would you call it when you have to, they're getting rid of things, but they're getting rid of toxic things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the right word either.
Yeah.
But
You don't
yeah,
just put
that
those out for the garbage man. Yeah.
yeah. So the biohazard garbage man.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Now if I'm just having an antagonist that isn't responsible for why my heroes have superpowers, then you're wide open. You could
Right.
you can have corporate espionage, rich guy who just thinks he owns everything. You can have
But
a
primarily egomaniacs, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're going to have a superhero fighting it, the villain has to be super as well, or it's like, if Superman punched your dog, that's not heroism, that's horifying.
Yes,
Yeah,
and basically not nice either.
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's super fun. I know that we're coming to the end of this series because you're moving on to a new romance endeavor. Um, can you ever see coming back to this series? And do you see that there might be after you get some time away,
Mhm.
can you imagine that you might want to come back and re-examine or re-explore some of the little nuances of this series?
Well, I mean, there's definitely plenty in the series that I could still develop. I made a conscious decision to bring the series to a close because I
Right.
want to take my writing focus to other projects. There are other things
Sure.
I wish to write. But yeah, there's plenty in here I could still write. And I probably will still at least write some short stories for it, little like gifts short stories to give my newsletter subscribers, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great
Our
idea.
baby
I
needs to be a part of an anthology, and so they want a
just
menopausal superhero story.
just as a goofy personal curiosity, I would like to know if the lizard woman, if she were to get pregnant, would she have lizard children? I mean, that's just I mean, I know she's in menopause, which means she's not having children anymore, but
Right.
she's got all these superpowers now, so who knows? Maybe she.
We do talk a little bit about the nature of changes and whether they could be inherited in the fifth and final novel.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see more reasons for me to read. Okay, cool.
So this one again is it's Friend or Foe, available as just a little novella of its own,
Yep.
but it's also included in this collection, Agents of Change, which
Yep.
gives you both of my novellas and all the short stories that I've written for the
Which
menopausal
is the
superhero.
the omnibus version is just such a great idea. I just love it.
And
And
isn't
like
I
and
really love what the my cover artist did with that.
yes, your cover artist is amazing for all of these books. I mean, they did
Yeah.
a really, really great job. Fantastic. Thanks again, Samantha. I'm so glad you came on the program. And I know we have another book to go to before we switch over to the romance. So I'm looking forward to having you back. Thank you.
Excellent.